That's gonna work.
But the show fucking sucks, Jase.
Well, who even watched this shit?
Wait. It gets better after the 27th season.
Jase
Really?
is doing the intro.
Okay, I got the cards. I'm ready. It's gonna be awkward with the first card with Jase doing the intro.
Make Joe.
Wait, what? There are two different kinds of people in this world. Normal people and those who like to go against the brush. Today, we are talking about those kind of people.
Jase, when were you born?
2008.
That's 7 years before. Jase has only ever known one tower.
Okay, the joke is that Muhammad Ali is a threat. We're talking about threat assessment.
What?
That has
That's
nothing.
not-
That's no bearing.
That's not the guy.
That has no bearing on the 9/11 and
That is not the guy, Jase.
Muhammad Ali was a boxer.
When my uncle visited the local kindergarten, they did not describe him as a regular man. They described him as nothing but a threat. When Jared Fogle pulled up to the local kindergarten, when the CIA wiretapped my uncle's apartment.
Motherfucker. The one thing I told you not to do.
Recently, Rafa told me about his aunt's moldy carpet. And, well, unknown to me, he wasn't really talking about her floors. In today's episode, when Taiwan was annexed from mainland China. When I stumbled into my brother's room, looking for one of my special hats, I stumbled upon his search history. And oh boy, did I learn something. I recently cast a snuff out on my younger brother. When I awoke to my pants soiled and shit. When my uncle placed a ring on my aunt's finger. It was only a matter of time before she descended into madness. Today, we are talking about threat assessment.
No, see, that one was, you dialed it back 100%.
Okay. During the Eldrazi invasion of Zendikar, there was only one persisting threat that loomed across all of the wasteland, and that was Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn. Where is she now? The world may never know.
Wait a minute. Don't we know where she is?
Ah!
Come on, Jase.
Me and Rafa were talking before the episode, and he asked me to, EDH, please kill me.
No.
More on that at 8.
When that fateful man from Walgreens opened the One Ring, all of a sudden, it became a threat to his life. Just as, on September 11th, 2001, when Urabras first pulled up on New Capenna, there was only one thing that he could say. I want those Phyrexians gone, lickety-split, your. Today, we are talking about threats. Not threats to the multiverse as in the Phyrexians, but threats to our playgroup. I'm Jase.
I'm Derreck.
And I'm Rafa. And tonight on Kitchen Table Cable, we are talking about threat assessment.
Why are you sitting so awkward? Rafa, just as normally.
Hey,
Yeah.
ladies.
Oh, shit. My bad.
So,
Threat assessment. That's all, folks. Threat assessment. Okay, Commander specifically. That's what we're talking about today. Yes.
Yes.
Commander specifically. I mean, threat assessment in any other format doesn't really work.
No.
Because, like, you have a sideboard for that.
Yeah, well, yeah, and there's only one threat.
It's your
just,
opponent, yeah.
It's just whoever that happens.
But
to be.
in
7-year-old Tammy. She's
and you're right
she's getting shit
home,
on.
glaring
Sorry.
daggers at you from across the GP.
Yeah.
So,
in Commander, you have 3 opponents. So therefore, you must use your removal wisely.
Yeah, and I think honestly, I think threat assessment is the hardest part of the game.
I can agree.
Personally, in
I can agree.
yeah, I can agree.
I mean, it is the most widely discussed topic online, even in person, right? Everybody talks about it. Everybody has their own view of it. You will never have a single answer to what is threat assessment and how to approach it. Every single person will always be different.
But tonight, on Kitchen Table Cable, we are giving you the
definitive
answer.
answer. That's it. The definitive answer.
Which
yeah,
is
right?
Jase?
No,
But no. So right. So talking about prep for the episode, I brought up the episode idea because listening to another podcast,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Rachel Weeks, I think, put out a
Oh, yeah.
poll
Oh,
on
dude, she's so
Twitter
great.
Yeah.
and asked, and it was like how do you threat assessment, and they gave it like 4 options and stuff, and so they're talking about it. And that's kind of where the idea came from. Again, every episode, every channel, every person will have their own way to look at everything like that. But it is fundamental in part of the game, and so we kind of want to talk about it a little bit early as far as content goes.
You know, it's a topic that's been talked about to death, but
yeah,
I love cliches.
Yep,
sure.
we're beating a dead horse with a tin roof.
And we can definitively say now that our opinions are the only ones that matter.
Exactly, because
Yes.
we're recording and you're
Because
listening.
because we're white. I mean, he doesn't count, but
Hold on.
Too
No.
far.
Editor?
I got that part out. Cut
Jesus
that part out.
Christ, Jase. Jesus Christ. Okay, so what is in Commander? Jace? What is threat assessment? Besides the smelly kid that sits across you from the table and you want to get him out. Besides that, what is threat assessment?
Well, we play Magic, not Yu-Gi-Oh.
Ooh,
Oh,
burn.
burn.
Oh, we're not supporting Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, time to delete that
No.
channel in the Discord.
Those cards aren't even the right size. And they're pointy.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
And they're pointy. What the fuck?
Well, Magic cards used to be pointy.
No.
Your hair
They-
used
they
to be
were like-
pointy.
In
Just saying, man.
playtest.
Yeah.
And then they obviously figured out that it was a stupid idea.
Yeah, man.
So clearly. they're down there.
Hashtag bring back the playtest cards.
Hashtag all the 6-year-olds were stabbing themselves with a finger. Anyway, what is threat assessment, Commander Jase? In your opinion?
Well, threat assessment to me is a lot of things, honestly. But part of it is how I identify the players sitting across from me, their skill level, as well. It's how I identify the decks I'm sitting across from. So a good example that me and Derreck had a great talk about is our playgroup itself. It consists of about 20 to 30 players. Usually about 15 to 20 of them show up regularly for our Commander events, right? And, you know, we have different, you know, classes, I guess, of the people we play against. We have people like me.
We gotta classify them?
Yeah, we gotta classify
we got
them.
different age ranges. We have different experience ranges.
Let's
not bring class into
No,
this, Jase.
no, I meant like experience. Oh, well, I wasn't trying to be.
That definitely
Okay.
sounded
Okay.
like.
Okay, we're talking about experience, right?
Yeah, we're the high class, y'all. Fuck, get out of here. Low class.
The shrinking middle class? I don't
Right.
know.
No,
We're
no.
not in middle class anymore. Yeah.
Anyways, but it's experience levels of our playgroup. Good, continue.
Yeah.
Continue.
So we have people. I wouldn't say we're the upper echelon because there's people who are better than us. But you know, me, Derreck, and
Somebody
Rafa.
better than me.
Shut.
I wholeheartedly believe in myself. If you don't, we can replace you with Colton or Mike.
I believe in you. I believe.
Okay,
in you.
well,
I
good.
believe in myself. I mean, I believe we're
We
somewhere.
are the 3 best players on this podcast. You heard it here, folks.
Heard it right here. And
Sorry. Continue.
yeah. So we've been around for a little bit longer than some of the more recent additions to our playgroup, and with that comes more experience, right? So when I'm sitting across from the table, I've got Derreck, Rafa, and then some newbie who just came up with a precon. Obviously, that precon can be doing powerful things, right? But I'm not going to I'm not going to pay as much attention to the player with the precon as I am going to pay attention to Rafa and Derreck with their casual decks, because they, for the most part, know how to capitalize on certain situations and play the game, you know, to its most thorough.
Okay, so yours is mostly deck dependent?
Deck dependent
Commander
and
dependent?
player dependent.
And player
I think that was the gist of his argument. It was
That's-
player dependent.
Okay, then he went into decks, so then I was confused.
Well, I feel like he was saying, like, you know, rearrange the decks. But, you know, if you sat down with a precon,
Sure.
I sat down with one of my commander decks, and there's a new player and Jase
Didn't they
playing-
have
playing
one
their
of-
own personal commander
Sure.
decks, then, like, we wouldn't pay attention as much to the new player unless he plays obscure cards, but we would know that, like, you as a more experienced player might be able to find these corner case situations, these interesting interactions in your deck that can propel you ahead versus the newbie who's playing, I don't know, a $400 Scarab God deck and has no idea what they're doing.
Okay, sure.
And you're also better at threat assessment. Oh my gosh, you're more
No
likely to make the right
way.
choice to remove the right
And
thing.
we Inception in this bad boy.
Inception, baby. 10
Okay,
roofs
so-
on 10 roofs.
We
Okay,
came
so,
prepared.
so Jace primarily player dependent.
Player dependent. Very
Okay,
player dependent. for me.
Rafa, do you have the same point of view?
I have... Yes, I think I do have the
Okay.
same point of view.
Sure.
I feel like if you know what the cards are doing, I feel like it's like a knowledge base, basically. If you know what the cards are doing, then you can more accurately assess threats.
Okay.
Like if I know that somewhere in the back channels of any MTG chat or Discord or whatever that there is like a 5-card combo that you are trying to set up, you may just play this random piece, and then I can be like, oh, okay, I know what's going on
I
here.
know what that is.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
I know what that
Okay.
is. Everybody else might not.
Okay.
But I know what that is, and so
Wow.
I can say, okay, I know these pieces that work together that are in these colors. They're in, typically associated with this commander. I know what's going on.
Okay.
And if somebody else is at the same experience level, the same knowledge level, their repertoire is just as large as mine,
Okay.
and I'm not compensating for anything,
Ooh.
Ooh.
then we can easily assess threats.
Okay. That's interesting. I do not view it that way at all.
Okay.
Whoa. Whoa.
Whoa, different
All right, well, then
opinions?
tell us,
Whatsoever.
Derek.
Yeah, whatsoever. So I view threat assessment in a singular moment.
Okay.
And only in a singular moment. Right? and again, there's no right or again, you won't get a right or wrong answer to anything. Everybody has their own point of view, obviously, as you can see here, right? But yeah, I view it in any given moment. Right. So for example, if I sit down at the table, right, and we have a new person playing, and regardless of what their deck is, sure, in that moment I might go, okay, cool, they're not the threat. Jase is the threat. He's playing his Scarab God deck. Mm-hmm. I know what it does. We played it. Cool. That's the threat. And we go in and we get 4 turns in, and Jase has 2 permanents on the battlefield, and this new person with the precon has, 6 lands and 18 artifacts and whatever. Obviously, then I view at the moment, I go, okay, clearly we got to reassess, right? Because at this moment, Jase is not even remotely the threat.
I got you.
And this other situation is, right? And so for me personally, right, it's just in the moment thing. And the biggest part of that is not only what's on the battlefield, right? We'll know what's on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Be it mana, be it creatures, whatever you have set up. It's cards in hand.
Yeah.
It's your commander. What does it do? If it's graveyard based, it's what's in your graveyard, right? It's all of that stuff in one, and then essentially it's kind of like running a constant algorithm of weighing these things and going, okay, cool. This person now has priority. Okay, cool. Well, this person did these 2 things. This person we just wheeled. This person has 7 new cards, and they're the control player or whatever, right? And so it's like kind of constantly shifting situation, right? Sitting down at a table, cool, that's how I view it. I look at the commander, and then I look at the player, and we start there, and then we just slowly build upon that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, which is so frustrating sometimes to sit in a pod.
Well, everybody does it different. we just said everybody does
right,
it different.
Right, to sit in a pod and go, he just drew 15 cards, we need to kill him. We need to deal with that. And they go, you know what? I don't like your commander. And you're like, damn it.
Cross.
Attack the other guy, right? He just drew 15 cards. Like, let's talk about it. Yeah, and that you just start getting into politics and all that stuff,
Yeah.
right? But, yeah. So, I mean, obviously, again, very different.
Yeah.
To kind of touch on the thing, right? If we take it a step further, right? That's kind of the way we view threat assessment. Let's pose a question.
Yeah.
Who do you decide to kill?
Who do you decide?
At a given moment. Let's say you're in a moment. I'm in a moment right now, and I can kill one of the 3 people that I'm playing with. Right. Obviously, not always the situation, but let's say we can.
Yeah.
I can deal with exactly one person. Who do you kill first?
That is an interesting question.
And that's the question that was posed right on Twitter
Mm-hmm.
and everything, and that everybody voted on. It's like, who do you kill? And they gave 4 different options. I don't remember all of the the specifics of the options and stuff, but just in general, like who do you decide to kill?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is it like the most powerful commander? Like that the Scarab God can get out of hand versus the other 2 commanders, so I want to deal with that ASAP. Is it the person who's furthest ahead among the other 3 players, right? Stuff like that. Is it, the person who's furthest behind? Maybe we want an easy kill kind of thing.
Jase. Yeah.
Jase, always.
Jase is option number 4.
You
right?
motherfuckers.
I mean, obviously in our play group, right, our list goes cross, and then we assess.
Yeah.
Right?
And then Jase.
Obviously. And then, basically, right. But, yeah, so, like, who do you decide to kill? And there's no stakes at play. League is different, obviously. We have no league. We have no packs on the line. We have no competition. It's just in this moment, who do I kill?
It's a thinker.
That's a thunker.
It's a thunker.
Well,
Right.
assuming that the player ahead has not a lethal board state or a board state that can turn lethal very quickly, or a board state that will, overvalue you. Say they have like a seed more views or something in play. I mean, that's more of a CDH argument, but same thing.
Ow.
Assuming that the person you deem to be in the best spot isn't in that great of a spot, this may sound bad, and this happens to me a lot, but I feel like the right choice is to kill the player who's behind. Because I feel like a dick saying this.
Jase is like,
but,
you haven't even played a creature.
but
Right.
but here's the thing. This happens so much. It happens
true.
like nearly every
It's
game.
true, right?
The player's behind, and they'll go, okay, I have 6 permanents in play. Swing at me. You're a fucking dick. I'm calling my mom. I'm going home.
Speaking from experience. What?
Everybody's calling their mom. No.
No.
Attack me.
I can see that though,
But most of the time, these people that have been, behind, the people who are
Just
behind
blow
in the games are the ones who win. I'm not saying this happens all the time, but they get,
It does happen a
everybody
lot.
ignores
it
them.
does, right?
I got
Because
you,
people
yeah.
want-
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like goldfishing, so like your deck can do these things.
Yeah.
If I'm
So
left alone.
I think that correlates to, and that's something that I've heard many times over the year, right? But that correlates to even the base level of, if you want to talk about what's better, being mana screwed or mana floated.
I got you.
Right, same thing. I would always prefer to be mana screwed,
Mhm.
because eventually I will come out ahead.
Exactly.
I have all gas as soon as I get my lands good. If I'm flooded, I literally have nothing to do. Right, and in my opinion, it kind of seems that fundamentally kind of works the same way in Commander. You're like, oh, I'm not drawing my colors, or I'm not really playing anything, and yada yada. Nobody's messing with you because you're quiet, you're not doing anything, you're not killing anything.
Yeah, it's the Swamps and Island Esper
and
deck.
then it's like they draw the one card and they're like bam 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 bam, and you're like, okay, cool, game's over. Or
Yeah.
yes, right.
Yeah.
Like, and it does happen all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, yeah, I
I
get
can
it.
see that. Yeah.
I get it.
So yeah, man.
But then, right. But then, they just gotta sit there for 30, 45 minutes until you finish the game and do another. Or
That is
go
true.
jump into
See,
another
that
I was
game.
gonna say, luckily we have a big enough playgroup where they can just
Yeah.
jump into another game.
Yeah.
Right.
It does feel bad, but if you're wanting to win the game, like if you're not wanting to have a fun time, if you're wanting to say, Rafa, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you if you kill me this game.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, like if it's a game you are trying to win, you're trying to close out the game, you're trying to have the best possible chances of winning, it's killing the person behind. But that's not always the case, and part of threat assessment as well, and why it is such a fickle thing, is because threat assessment always doesn't pertain to kicking players out of the game, because you don't want to, if you only have 4 people to play with, you might be swayed to not kill, the person who's, behind, or the person who you can kill, because you've only got 4 people to play with, and then, the game's going to go on for another hour or 2, and that third person is going to be...
Well,
Hour or 2. Jesus.
I don't know,
right.
what
man.
kind of Commander games are you playing?
Come on,
The
man.
last recorded game that I felt went really long lasted about an hour.
Come on.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean-
to be fair, my league game.
Yeah, that was the game I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
No, I'm talking about the league game from last Sunday.
Oh.
Oh no,
Yeah, dude.
You guys know what
Jason
time-
told me about that.
You
9
guys know
o'clock.
what time we finished?
He was like, Rafa, I was at the shop
We
on Wednesday. He was like, Rafa, guess what time we finished our league game on Sunday?
We
I go, what?
finished
He
at
goes,
like 8.
9
We
o'clock.
finished at like 8:45, bro. Like there was so much, and like it was crazy because it seemed like nothing was happening, but there was a lot of shit going on constantly, and it was just going on forever.
To be fair, it was a 2-headed giant game. Those games
Yeah.
always
Those
take long.
games.
Yeah. True. I
Um,
mean, it's super fun. Some people didn't have fun with it this time, so we'll kind of see how it goes.
I mean,
But,
Justin and I's game.
Justin was a little pissy boy.
Oh,
about
Justin
it.
was a little pissy.
Very-
boy,
He was
just-
like, ooh, on the
But-
car ride home. He was like, ooh.
but to be fair, right?
To be fair, our game would have ended
Love you,
quick
Justin.
anyways.
Yeah, I mean,
It's 2 Voltron decks.
That's true, right? That makes a big difference. And the thing is like,
And Justin punted. He punted.
did he?
He
I
did.
punted a couple times too. I was upset, but it didn't really have much bearing on the game. But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I definitely, me and Ryan definitely annihilated the opposition, dude. Our decks were
That
so
is true.
synergistic.
Anyways, back on
Okay.
topic.
Back on topic.
Back on
Back
topic.
on
Threat assessment.
Okay,
Who do we
so,
kill?
So who do we kill? Okay, so
Who do we kill?
person in last place.
I mean, I feel like kill the person with the most cards in hand.
Most cards in hand. I love it. Okay.
Ooh.
Because they have the most resources readily available to them.
Okay.
And that's typically the thing in Commander. Whoever in Magic in general, who sees the most cards usually wins.
True. Right. That's why I say don't feed the fish.
Yeah, this is true in two-player
that,
formats.
right.
This is especially true in limited.
For sure.
The more cards you see in limited, the higher chance you have to win. And I feel the same thing is true.
Ooh, okay. So I think limited's a different beast because it's more, in my opinion, it's more about having efficient cards.
I get that, but shouldn't Commander be the same thing?
Right. Yes, right. But in limited, I'm not going to play 3 to 4 to 5 of my non-land cards to be card draw spells. Because then I don't have any meat in my deck. Right. In Commander, I absolutely will.
Well, yeah.
Right. Because it's... Right.
Think 40 cards up to 100. That's 60 more cards.
But yeah, no, I mean, most cards in hand, I like it. Yeah. Now, cards in hand tie into resources. If you have 2 players, one person's got 12 cards in hand, and 8 mana, and you have somebody else who's got 24 treasures and 36 mana, and they have 4 cards in hand.
Well, okay,
right.
That's something that...
Now we got, it's kind of back to that whole algorithm thing where we got to reassess.
That's bad player syndrome. That's bad player syndrome. If you have 36 treasures and 4 cards in hand, and you have not spent them, they are not the threat.
Okay. Either that or they're just sandbagging like a motherfucker.
They could, but... See, this is the thing, like...
This is why it's hard,
It's hard. Here's another thing, is like, people need to fucking end the game.
Oh my god.
I hate sitting in a game where someone is like, I have a way to end the game right now.
End it. Let's go.
I'm not going to play
Let's play another one.
He's like, for flavor reasons, I'm not going to play it.
No.
For fun reasons, I'm not going to play it.
Let's go.
Starts with a C, ends with an S.
Shut up. Anyways,
let's end
stop talking about people in our life.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jesus.
I'm talking about
Christina. No, we knew who you were talking about.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, no, I mean.
But that is part. I mean, and if that is what needs to be done, you can attack them and force them to pull the trigger.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
It is.
I think that counts as threat assessment.
Yeah, kind of right. I agree.
They are the threat, and what needs to be done needs to be done.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. Let's shuffle up and play another game. Let's try some other commanders. Mm-hmm. Let's not get butthurt about it.
Now,
that's true, but I still I'm pretty adamant about who has the most cards in hand or who's drawn the most cards is most likely in a prominent position to win.
Agreed.
That is who I would attack.
Agreed.
Yeah. Now we talked about killing players, right? And that's a huge part of threat assessment.
I wasn't sure where you were going there for a second.
I wasn't either. Okay. Come on.
We
want to talk about specific threats?
No. There's something I was getting into, Derek.
Okay.
So during the very first Precon League, I turned my Fearcrag Precon into Miram.
That's not how you pronounce that.
I think it's Fearcrag.
Furcrag.
It's
Furcrag. I was gonna say something. Oh man.
Hold on. Editor. Marisha, cut that out.
Okay.
But yeah.
Furcrag.
So there was this game into Miram. There was this game where I had this big ass fort. I was on top of the world, right? I could kill anybody that I wanted to, and then, but I was just passively through the game. I was taking these big chunks of damage, 6, 7, 8 chunks of damage, and eventually, I got down to a very low life total, and, well, the player to my right reanimated from someone's graveyard a Niv-Mizzet Parun.
It was your graveyard.
It was my
graveyard.
It was your Niv-Mizzet.
It was my
I was in that game. And I still hate you for it.
Bro, that game was a huge lesson for me, man.
Yes. I was yelling at Jase so hard. Okay, it was Mike, it was Jase, it was me. And
was this when Mike used them?
Yeah. This was when Mike used them. This was when he ran. Like Jase was saying, Jase was doing pretty all right. Jase should have won that game.
Okay.
But for some reason, you weren't blocking. You were taking a shit ton of damage. And then Mike yoinked your Niv-Mizzet and held you at gunpoint and said, kill him and him. And you did.
I don't know why
I was in that game.
You were in that game. You died first.
I died super early.
Yeah, you died first.
I died super early to try to give everybody a chance. And he hit me with that.
That was a huge lesson that I never, and that, I mean, this is a rule that I follow.
Jason's a little puppet.
Yeah,
never let anybody hold you for ransom. That is something like just as like a proper play etiquette thing. If someone's holding you for ransom, you say no, fuck you.
It's a real world kind of threat assessment thing. If somebody has your gun and you can take it away from them, they have no gun from it anymore. They don't have the weapon anymore.
Instead, they're just gonna be like, I'm gonna hold it and you point it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Literally, if you had swung at Mike, he probably would have killed you,
Yeah.
but he wouldn't have won.
There you go.
You
We'll
weren't.
take one for the team.
And so for League, it's different. It's different because in League there's points, but in a regular Commander game, like if he did that, if that was me, I would have.
See,
I would have sacrificed myself. I would have taken away his.
That's
power.
why I ended up doing it, because like it almost guaranteed me second place. But
Yeah.
I don't know if it just was a very frustrating thing.
It was a
for
very
you and
BM
Rafa.
move.
Very
It was a very BM
dick
move.
move. Very dick move.
BM, bad manners.
Yeah.
Anyways, what we're talking about again?
I don't
I'm
understand.
livid again. I'm having PTSD.
We're reliving the situation, and you're like,
But yeah,
I'm
what
turning
what
red,
my
not
point?
because it's fucking hot.
what's your
in here.
point?
What my point was is another part of threat assessment is what other players can do for you, what they can threat the other players.
That sounds like
for
Wait,
politics.
that's politics.
That's politics.
That's a
God
That's
fucking
politics.
damn.
That's
If
a
you have the
different-
option to kill a player, you can make a deal to them and say, okay, I won't kill you.
That's
poli-
still
In
politics.
We're still in
Oh
politics.
my god. Alright guys, next segment.
Next segment. Next segment.
I wasn't ready to throw it yet. I have one left.
Jase, go get him. Go get him.
Oh shit! Don't pick him up. Editor.
Editor.
What the fuck?
Kitchen Table Cable is sponsored by Force of Will Gaming. For all your gaming needs, visit downtown Bastrop's premier gaming store. And also by viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back to
Back.
the show.
What's next on the docket? We got a note card right here.
That says
Our thoughts, depending on our pod.
Ooh.
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 So you mean
For
like?
threat, for threat assessment. So depending on
So,
the
so you
pod.
mean like the people and/or the commanders?
No, just the commanders.
Just the commanders.
I want to talk about
Just the
just the
commanders.
commanders. We talked about the people a little bit already.
Yeah,
I
that's
want to
true.
talk about just the commanders.
Just the commanders.
Right. So let's use an example real quick. Right. Okay. And this is kind of CEDH a bit.
Ooh.
No, let's not do CEDH.
Come on, I mean it's applicable, right?
Okay, sure. Let's do CEDH. Okay, so I'm playing Tivit.
Okay.
Right. You're playing. What are you playing CEDH?
I'm playing
You're playing
Obnixilus.
Obnixilus, right? You're playing Kinnan.
Spinning Kinnan,
And
baby.
we're playing with Colton Yuriko. Okay.
You could be playing Seaton.
Okay, but he's playing Yuriko. Okay. So
It's playing a good.
he's playing a good deck, right? Okay. So depending on our pod, does your threat, the way that you approach threat assessment, change?
Well,
Commander based, not player based.
oh,
Commander based.
well, any of the commanders that can play Thoracle in their deck are like a big part.
I can see that. I mean,
Okay.
I'm definitely
And
looking.
that's why I wanted to avoid CEDH.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at in CDH specifically. This is a bad example. In CDH specifically, I'm looking at if I am an unbiased observer.
Mhm.
If I've walked up to this pod,
Okay.
and I'm gonna put myself in any of these positions,
Okay.
and I'm saying, okay,
I don't care what commander is. I don't want to go first.
that's true. Sitting down before dice has been rolled, before turn order has been decided.
Okay.
Looking at the pod, I am wary of the decks that play blue.
Sure. Obviously.
So any of the decks that are playing blue, I'm more inclined to target.
Stop. Jace, what are you doing? We're in the middle of the episode.
Okay.
Editor?
Marissa?
Our editor.
So
Jace. Okay. So let's do it again. We're going to do not CEDH.
I'm just doing this to piss off Derek.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so pod, not CEDH.
Not a CDH
Not
pod.
CEDH. Let's talk about a normal game, right? Doesn't matter what the commanders are, right? Doesn't really matter. Let's not name any of them. But depending on pod composition, the 4 commanders that you're playing, and again, this is not people. Let's ignore who's piloting the deck, right? We all brought 4 decks and we white elephanted them and we changed them all around and now we're playing them.
Mhm.
It doesn't really matter. Does your, I guess, original viewpoint or how you view threat assessment in general change depending on your pod composition in just a regular game?
I feel like it would.
It would. Okay.
I feel because there are in this funky little game of ours,
Sure.
there are a lot of commanders that are a
Busted.
little more powerful than the
Okay.
others.
Sure.
And
So that's
sometimes, no matter who's playing them, we don't care who's
Yeah.
playing them. But
or
no
how
matter
they're
who's
built
or how
anything
they're
like that.
built,
Sure.
I mean, they take Golos. I mean, we weren't supposed to name any specific ones, but like, look at Golos. You could do anything with that commander.
Sure. I mean, we
And
can,
still
we
probably-
can name them when we're covering that. Now, I agree with that, right? If you sit down in a pod and one person is playing Corvold and your other 3 players are playing literally almost any other commander, any
Yeah.
any other basic commander, sure, right? Obviously, you look and you go, okay, clearly way more powerful than a bunch of stuff out there, right?
Yeah.
So we can look at it that way. But let's say they're all kind of on the same power level.
All the same power level.
We're all kind of on the same power level, right? We've had that Rule 0 discussion. We've all said 7.2. We all agreed on 7.2, which never happens, obviously. But let's say all the commanders are basically same power level. I guess, let's rephrase the question. Should your approach to threat assessment change? Let's view it that way instead. Should the approach to how you view threats change?
We've taken all the decks, we've randomized them.
We've randomized them,
Everybody
we've
gets a
randomized
deck
the
that they're
pilots.
not familiar with. You know,
Everybody-
they didn't build
sure.
it and
Everybody
whatever.
gets a deck that they've never played it before. Right? They didn't build it. They've never played it before. So we've taken the player aspect out of it. Right? We've taken the deck aspect out of it because we don't want to specify it. We've taken all that. Should it change depending on pod composition?
Yeah.
It should. Okay. I'm interested.
Wait.
Jase, what do you think?
Yes.
No. Well, like, come on.
Come on.
Come on.
Come
I
on,
don't think I understand what's going on here. I'm not sure I'm dancing on the tin roof, if you know what I'm saying, right?
No, we don't know what you're saying. But
So what he's saying is that someone has built 4 commander decks.
Right, and swapped them around.
They're all
That-
the same power
How
level.
how does
all
that
the
affect
decks are the
threat
same
assessment if you're blind, you're completely blind going in, you don't they don't know their decks and you don't know who you're sitting across from, right?
Sure.
I'd like to change
That's-
my answer.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So
I asked the question because you view threat assessment by player base, by player perspective.
If we've taken the
if we've
players
taken
out,
the player perspective out of that, we don't. It's for unknown people.
4
right.
anonymous.
If we say, hey, the main way that I view threat assessment is based on who's piloting the deck, and now that's gone away. Should your view of how you assess the threat change depending on your pod composition? And it may not, right? I'm just curious. I'm just spitballing, right? I'm just curious, right? Because if we go and I say it's only for me, right? It's only based on everything in the moment. Then obviously my view of threat assessment would never change because it constantly changes throughout the game, right? But if we say, right, if one person says, hey, I think the threat is X player because he's been playing the longest and he builds the best decks and blah, 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 and then that aspect is removed, then it's like, personally, right, I kind of view it like, okay, well, now I'm kind of lost. If I were in that situation, I'm kind of lost, and I go, okay, well, how do I start a new threat assessment?
I got you. And I mean, I guess it goes back to mine. That's why I said I changed my answer because I understand the premise now. It goes back to the way I do it. Is all of these cards separately might not do anything. Together, if you know what they do, you know what they do.
You know, we're recording a fucking episode.
I have to tell my mom it's 8 o'clock. Okay, I'm texting you.
What's 8 o'clock?
Right now!
Okay, what does that matter?
Well, I just don't want her to think I'm dead. Anyway, back to
Okay.
the episode.
After this, we're gonna kill Jase.
Okay. So, it doesn't really change.
Doesn't change.
It doesn't change. Okay, sure. So then, last little topic here is how then do we utilize threat assessment when we build our decks? How we play the game. Talked about gameplay a little bit already, but how do you take the idea of threat assessment into account when you're building a deck?
So is this I want to clarify real quick. Is this a discussion about like sniper cards? Like, oh, this person's playing Yuriko as their cool, fun ninjas deck. I'm gonna put in some anti-ninjas deck.
It could be.
Containment
is that how you would tweak your deck based on how you assess your threats?
No, that is because we have
Okay.
too big of a play. We have too big of a play
I
group
don't
to
think
do that.
you
Okay.
you should tailor your deck because like anybody at any given moment, like you were saying, in any moment, I might not be the threat or I might be the threat. That's
Sure.
nothing. That's out of my control.
Sure. Okay.
Because like if I get the perfect 7 in my opener and I just steamroll the table, of course I look like the threat. But then if I play the same deck the next game, there might be many moments where I'm just like dirtling and not really doing anything, and I am no longer the threat. Now, taking people out of the equation, Commander players are historically stupid.
Whoa.
Okay.
In that
Jesus.
every game beforehand matters.
Oh yeah, we hold grudges.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Who doesn't hold grudges?
Oh, I can't mention any of them.
So you know, if I steamrolled the table last game with my
Oh, you're
$50
dying first.
my $50
Yeah.
deck, of course I'm dying
You're
first.
dying
And then the real threat,
just takes the game.
yeah.
Right.
And so that one's just kind of
yeah,
you know
100%.
moot and point. And
It's why
But-
it's why Cross ruins every pot he's in because he always has to die first.
boy. Anyways,
Anyway.
I don't
So-
think deck building.
Okay, so I mean, I guess the way that I view it, I think threat assessment in general does affect deck building, and maybe we just don't realize it.
Mhm.
Right.
Go on.
So, for instance, if you say, I'm playing a Risk of Thieves, right?
Sure.
And I go, okay, cool.
Sure.
So, in general, right, throughout the game, obviously, like I said, there's going to be various positions. Everybody's going to have kind of their own thing going on or whatever. But I put no single target removal in my deck.
Ooh.
Okay, so I put no single target removal in my deck for whatever reason. Obviously not a thing, but for whatever reason, I've decided to do that.
I've done that.
Sure. Okay. So then that, in my opinion, that changes the way that then I sit at the table when I assess threats. Because I don't have any single target removal, so it doesn't really matter if this person has a smothering tithe on the battlefield and is making 20 treasures. I can't do anything about it. Right. So then I may go, okay, cool, and this person may be what we consider the threat based on resources, based on their board state. Doesn't really matter. But I've tailored my deck. I've built my deck to where it's not to deal with that. But I can go over here and I can just beat face to this other person who might be a secondary threat, if we consider something like that. So it's just kind of like those types of ideas. And so would that then, but not necessarily sniper cards or silver bullets or anything like that. I mean, there are cases, right, and stuff, but not necessarily that approach. But am I going to put enough things in my deck to deal with any type of threat, depending on how the game goes?
We like to talk about packages, and I feel like that's a great word to describe it. Are you packing enough to?
Are you packing?
The Glock 17.
Yeah, man.
See, it brings. I mean, that's our weapons, our removal,
Yeah.
our abilities to affect the board.
Yeah. Okay.
So I get what you're saying, that it's not something we consciously think about. But I feel like that's more of a segue into our episode on removal. Which will
Sure.
happen-
Okay. Yeah. That is a perfect kind of lead up to the next episode where we'll talk about removal.
Because I guess the best way to deal with the threat is either to kill it or to kill it.
Or to stop it, or to prevent it.
This is true.
But yeah, essentially, if you look at it that way. So and again, I didn't want to necessarily go into removal specifically,
Yeah,
but it was just more along the ideas of how we assess threats affecting how we build decks and how we play the game.
It also affects deck building in the fact of cards you're including that have a stigma around them, right? If you're playing your casual deck and you slam a Ristic Study onto the board, you're more threatening than you would be otherwise. Come on.
Just pay the one.
Just pay
Just
the
pay the one. Just pay your taxes.
Just don't be behind.
Just pay your taxes.
But right, there's gonna
Just
be
don't be the threat.
there's gonna be a significant more amount of damage you're gonna take because you played Ristic Study instead of Thoughtcast in your Psi deck, right?
Sure.
That's a very specific example, but it's very blanket for most of EDH, right? If you're playing Smothering Tithe and Craterhoof and all that stuff in your deck, those cards are really powerful and they really draw attention towards yourself. Well, if you're playing freaking, I don't know, Pathbreaker, not
Monologue tags.
Monologue tax. Who plays that card? Like if you're playing just the second second best stuff, that stuff that's not bad, it's just not as good as Craterhoof, Behemoth, and Cyclonic Rift, then you're less likely to be seen as the threat.
Okay.
I got you.
So building the deck to minimize
That's
how people would perceive yourself.
That's a good way to put it, Jase. I like
Okay.
the attention bit. I like the attention bit. Things that draw attention to you.
Okay, I like it.
That
Because Commander is a very splashy format. I mean, that's basically where we just want to bring our decks to the table. We want to slam our big gut down on the table and we say, guys, this is my...
Jase, you are a
This
pencil.
is my Commander
Why are you
deck.
talking about me?
No. Guys, this is my Commander deck. I came here. I'm doing this awesome thing. And that's what you come to the table with.
And then you go, is that on turn 4?
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing
okay.
most people come to the table to do.
Sure, right. They want to do their battle cruisery stuff. They want to
Yeah.
do cool stuff. They want to do fun stuff.
They're typal decks.
They want to pull off their glass cannon combo,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
I got you. Well,
I see. I see, said the blind man. Kind of awkward. Because he can't die. Anyway. Okay. So, final thoughts?
Jase,
What did we learn from this
what did we
episode?
learn?
What is
from
our
this episode?
definitive view?
That's
kitchen
my
table
line.
table
That's my line.
view
But then
on
say it.
threat assessment?
Guys, what did we learn?
Oh, sorry. We can go again.
All right. Editor, Marissa,
Leave it in. Fuck it. Leave it in. Whatever.
Jase, take it
Jase.
away.
Take it away, Jase.
Well, guys, what did we learn from today's episode?
You're a threat.
We learned that Jase, at the very least, something threatening is going on in your life.
Right. Oh, give me that.
Why does that spell card say make fun of Jase some more? What the fuck? There.
It says again. It just says
Oh,
make fun
again.
of Jace again.
Again.
Yeah, again. Okay, so we learned that obviously talking about threat assessment sucks.
Yes, it is a very sticky topic, and it's a very long topic.
But our definitive answer is
Be good at it.
everyone's a threat.
Play more removal, you scrub.
Everyone's a threat.
What the hell?
Everybody can be a threat.
This is true.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Everyone can be a threat.
Everyone can be a threat.
That guy in Rafa's closet that's been staring at us for the last 30 minutes, he's pretty threatening.
Jace, Jesus Christ.
This
Marissa, back in the closet.
This has been Jase.
No.
We're not done yet?
We're done.
Oh,
What does that say?
man.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay. So, closing thoughts. All good. I want to thank everybody for watching. Check the description below for all these socials. Click the buttons. Do all that jazz.
Comment down below your favorite planeswalker.
Okay. Sure.
Jase, you can't call back to something I have to cut out.
Wait. What do you have to cut out?
The part about a Johnny that you said.
Oh, I just thought he was just doing a dumb thing. Just comment your favorite planeswalker. Oh,
Comment
man.
down below
Comment.
how you deal with that assessment.
Sure.
Comment who you voted during the 2020.
Jace is still in politics.
No, I'm sure that's getting left in at some point, in some fucking fashion. Obviously,
You're gonna-
yeah. Comment down below your thoughts on threat assessment, who you would kill first on a pod, all that jazz. It's a fun topic to talk about, but it gets frustrating.
This is true. We have tried so long to record this video.
Oh,
Too
too
Okay.
long.
All right.
This has been Jase.
This has been Jase. This has been Derreck.
This has been Rafa.
Yeah, I don't know why our parents all named us Ben, and
Back to you, Marissa.